We have a very, very special pleasure today on our HomeTown podcast. We have one of the OGs, one of the originals. Buckelew, more commonly around here, we call him Mr. Buck. And Mr. Buck was employee number 2 after myself. It was pretty quick soon after we got ready to start this organization. And I consider him a founder of the bank, and I think most people do and should. So, Mr. Buck, welcome to the HomeTown podcast, and we sure appreciate your time today. And I just, what we're trying to do is, of course, you're probably as well known as most anyone in this whole county, but we just kind of trying to make it a more personal thing and makes people a little more comfortable with us as individuals, know where we came from, what we, what we have in life and what we enjoy and that kind of thing. Just get to know us a little bit more. It's just more of a conversation so that folks get to know who we are and what makes us tick. So, because, we got 65 plus, I think, out there, and you start taking that many people and people don't really know who they are or where they, and so that's kind of where we're headed with this. But I feel kind of odd today because who doesn't know Mr. Buck, right? I mean, between the time that you've banked here and then the time that you and my father rode around all over this countryside for whatever, right?
Right.
I can tell you this, the people over at Shaw's Barbecue know who you are over at Asheville.
That's for sure.
But, hey, just kind of go way back in time. I understand that you almost made the Olympics when you were at Auburn. Is that the way that worked?
I wouldn't say almost. Locally, I was one of the top 2 miles in the SEC for 2 years. Other than that, I wasn't a famous runner or anything else, but very blessed to have been on a SEC championship team when I was a sophomore, and then that helped me get a scholarship for the last 3 years of college. So it was very beneficial for me, but no Olympic star.
No Olympic star.
Long ways from Olympics. I got a grandson might make it, but
yeah,
no, I didn't get close to that.
Well, he, don't fall far from the tree, right? So
yes, sir.
That's the deal. But yeah, didn't y'all have a coach or something that made it, or was maybe you told me a story about going back and y'all, recognized the coach. Maybe he went in the Hall of Fame or something at Auburn.
Well, they did a special on us back about 2 years ago. Opelika Times wrote an article, said one of the best track meets that ever been held at Auburn. And Auburn, they held the SEC Outdoor Championship. That was in 1961. And we wasn't supposed to do a whole lot, but she had 2 days there that every participant, when I say every, I'm talking about every, outdid themselves for some reason. They either ran the best time they ever ran or jumped the furthest they ever jumped. And believe it or not, we won the SEC championship by 1 point, beat LSU 55-54.
Wow.
And so if you scored a point, you participated, but in big time.
Yeah, those kind of things just can't be matched. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, the idea that you're for all intents and purposes, of course, you're an Auburn man. I mean, that's the way we do it, a real Auburn man. But you're going to go down in the history books down there for some period of time. So it's just hard. They'll never remove that. They can't remove that. The SEC championship. Yeah. So that's exciting, Buck. I honestly didn't know y'all won the SEC championship. I just knew that you went there on run track. And then, of course, at that time, track was a baby sport. People didn't. I mean, as far as money, they didn't get any money. They didn't get any scholarships. You know,
Well,
it was
that
all
was Coach Hutzel's, Wilbur Hutzel. He was head track coach. That was his 40th year coaching track at Auburn in
Wow.
61.
Wow. Yeah. So once
he was a pretty famous guy. He coached about, I know, of 3 Olympic teams. So, you know, he was that caliber of a coach.
Yep. Yeah. And that's also something you can't ever take off, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. So moving forward there, when did you get to Aniana?
We moved here. I graduated from Auburn in 63. And we moved to Clanton. I went to work for Soil Conservation Service. We went to Clanton and lived there 4 years and then moved here in 1967, Danny.
Okay.
And I was still working for Soil Conservation Service for about another 8 years. And then I got into the seed and feed business with one of the botchers, Bud Botcher. That was Charlie's brother. And worked for them for about 6 years. And then I had an opportunity to, believe it or not, get into banking. I never would have believed I could have been a banker, but the Lord knew better, I guess, because I was been a banker for 50 years now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, little did you know what you're really good at. You know, I mean, sometimes we don't. Well, I'd tell you that most of the time we don't know what we're really good at, and something or somebody has to kind of shake our tree a little bit and say, you know what, you might want to think about this. And then we start to see how we benefit people and what we do for people. And, you know, I know that you're a servant, and that's kind of how we behave in most situations. I mean, we're out for the best of the person that we're trying to make them successful.
When you called me, I'd retired basically from community. I'd been with them for 16 years. Decided to go home. I'd been home about 2 months, and then I got a call from you who said, come up and eat supper with me tonight. I got something I want to talk to you about. And I had no idea, of course. And, but you put together a pretty big team in a hurry, because it was you and Patty, Suzanne, and me. That was it.
Yep.
Plus our board of directors. We were on the road. And I just will never forget the trips we made to Atlanta to pick up our brochures and stuff.
Yeah,
and
right.
You and I, we put together 2 trailers, you know, for a little while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Before we built our building. But it was a fun time. I mean, it was, and to see it grow and to see the participation in this county was unbelievable, I thought. But it was because your leadership had a lot to do with it. And then we had a board of directors that they let us go with it and run with it.
Exactly.
And so it's been a fun time for me. And then to have your dad was my brother. I mean, he trained me. He was my mentor, and I could tell story after story. We should have written a book. That's where we really missed our call.
Yeah, that's right. Especially when when whoever it was threw the keys out in the yard.
That's right.
Went to.
We worked together for 41 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
And it's so funny. He was my boss at community. Then, of course, I was his boss at HomeTown. And I reminded him of that frequently.
Yeah, he needed it. You know,
he'd come in there and do an interview every year, you know, to rate you, to see if he was improving and going backwards or whatever. And he'd come in, he said, you know, you've done a good job, but he said, who can read your Japanese writing? I said, ain't nobody here.
Well, you know, I always, take a lot of pleasure in the idea that you and Dad got to kind of extend your careers a little bit here by doing the thing you did best, which was go see people and be yourself in front of people and evaluate what was going on. But more than anything, just being yourself and making people comfortable with the bank and who was involved in the bank. And I do want to mention one thing before we move on, and that is that, you know, when you're starting any business, but certainly in a bank, you've got a extraordinary amount of work to do and an extraordinary amount of, I wouldn't call it necessarily pressure, but, you know, when you're starting from zero, you've got to get some business on the books as fast as possible. And so that was kind of our approach, is let's go, 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 go. And because of that, we didn't really do a lot of picture taking, note taking, any of that kind of stuff. You know, had we been smart enough, we'd have probably journaled a little bit more. But of course, my journal's in my brain. It's there. But I remember distinctly, Mr. Buck, you had a yellow pad, and we were trying to figure out how to raise stock, how to sell stock and raise capital that was necessary to get the bank open. And you said, well, I don't really know where to start here. And so I handed you a phone book, and I said, right there's a good one. The next thing I know, we had 1,500 names in that yellow pad, and we covered every single solitary one of them. And we called them, made appointments, went to their house, met them at restaurants, gas stations, just you name it, and we met them there. Farmers market, you name it, we met them there.
That's right.
And had a conversation with them. And when you go through, you know, we had to do it because it had, you know, in order to open the bank, you had to do it. And I tell you, 1,500 conversations is a lot. And sometimes now we go back and to talk about, you know, how I don't know if you remember, you know, like we couldn't find Paul Wilson's house, and we found it finally after passing it about 4 times, and we've been all over this county all our lives, but we couldn't find it. So we found places we didn't even know existed in the county. So, and then when you and Dad got to riding around all over the country roads, y'all found some places that nobody knew anything about, you know. So anyway, I was really happy to know that you guys got that opportunity to ride around here and see the world, and you're still doing it. But you know, we have a beautiful place, Blount County, and we just take it for granted sometimes. But y'all got a chance to go. Of course, a lot of it started probably in a restaurant, didn't it?
Right.
Where are we going to eat lunch? I think was the first matter of business for y'all every day.
Oh, yeah, we had to make sure we were somewhere we were going to get a good lunch when we hit the road.
Yeah, so. How are we going to time this so we'll be there?
That's right.
That time. Well, now, on more, I guess, personal note, now you have 3 children. Is that right? I got to think through that. Right, yeah. You got 3, right? Mike.
Yes.
Jerry and Freddie. And then how many grandkids?
3 boys and 3 girls. And out of the 6, we got 3 graduated from Auburn. Well, what I was fixing to do here, that'll be our 3rd Auburn.
Keeping that going.
Yeah, that's Lauren. That's Mike's daughter, and she's a junior in horticulture, which she really enjoyed it at Auburn, and has won a few trips to go to Ireland and other places. And she's learned a lot, and it's very enjoyable to hear her talk, because she's had welding. She's had her and a partner put together a Honda engine, and after they got it together, it even cranked. So she's pretty proud of some things.
Yeah, should be.
But we've been very blessed, and you know, it's just a joy to watch them grow up and mature. And
right. Well, you got anything that you remember specifically about that maybe happened while you was here at HomeTown, or even previously in other banks, that was really either really funny or really joyful, or any of that kind of stuff? What do you got any stories that?
Well, Danny, I think the thing when somebody said, how'd you get in banking? I said, well, I had a dear friend here that we became close friends. That's Dr. Ira Patton. And I went to Dr. Ira Patton one time in my career to ask him what he thought about me going to work at Citizen Bank. And he was very blunt to the point. He said, probably one of the best jobs you can ever do is because you're a public person, you like people, and of course he was on the board of directors. And he saw something at that time I didn't see, that I could work for about anybody. And
Yeah.
so I was very fortunate to be offered a job at Citizen Bank, and kind of kicked off my banking career. And after 50 years, I'm still here.
Yeah. There
So,
we go.
but I have to give Dr. Ira Patton, because I trusted the man. He always gave good advice. He'd be a real instigator in me having been in the bank.
Well, Dr. Patton was a legend and should be,
Yeah.
and influenced a lot of things and a lot of people in our community, and delivered a lot of people in our community out at the
That's
hospital.
right.
So, we just owe a real gratitude to him. And I know the Citizens Bank was a real fertile ground for some really good bankers over time, and that's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
But well, I just wanted to make sure that we got the word and get everybody clear on exactly where you can't, where this Buckelew guy come from anyway, because you've been here a long time, but if you're either native or not, and of course most people now don't even know you weren't born here. I don't reckon, So anyway, well, Mr. Buck, thanks so much for your time today, and we're just so happy. I know I just, from a personal note, couldn't ask for a better partner in this
You and
hometown
I've
bank
had a
thing
good
we've
ride.
done.
There's no doubt
We
about
have
it.
had some ride, and to think back on some things like you're talking about, putting the trailer together, watching it come in on the 2 or 4 or 8 wheels or whatever, how many there were, and then doing whatever was necessary whenever it was necessary. I tell you, one thing I remember specifically is the cream puff, the car that you had that was kind of put back together, and got us all over the place here. That's for sure. We that was what we called the car, and it was the one that we used a lot of times to go to some of these places, far flung places, to try to raise money to get some capital into the bank and get it started. And the day we opened was a happy day, and then the day that we started making money and got positive, it was something special, and I won't ever forget it. And I can't tell you how much that it's meant for me personally, my family, and of course my father, and really I feel like that the impact that we've made on the communities we serve, and I know we continue to do that, Mr. Buck, but couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah.
So thanks again. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. You have to give you a lot of credit for helping me get back into banking in a sense, and then just turning me loose and say, "Go at it, big guy."
Well,
Out here beating the bushes.
I can't teach you anything you don't. That
You
is,
don't you don't remember dates like I do, but I know when we hit our I think we had to raise what, $7 million
somewhere in that
basically,
neighborhood. Mm-hmm.
raise that capital. And it took us 91 working days. That's all it took us for us to raise $7 million where we could open the door. And I thought that would never happen that quick, but it did. And
Yeah.
because people trusted us, that's all you can say. They had a lot of faith in us, And like I say, you put together a great board of people that just are very active in the community, and everybody knew them, and people were say, "Hey, I think I need to get some of that stock." So
Yeah.
that's a real joy to be out here in the public every day and trying to sell something that nobody really knew how it would come out, but it's come out extremely
Well, I got
well, of
one
course.
story I'll have to tell, and that is that we were in a small office downtown when we were getting started, and uh, we had we had already bought some of our computers, and that was kind of at a time frame where people were first going into full fledged, laptops, personal computer. Everybody had one, and so like yourself and Patty and different ones didn't have a lot of experience with that. So the thing that I did was I said, well, there's one tool here that you're going to need to learn how to use, and that is a mouse. And I brought him a mouse, and I said, I tell you what I want you to do. I want you to play solitaire every chance you get till you learn how to navigate with this mouse. And it was kind of a joke at the time, but then it became kind of fun. And just the other day, now this has been almost 25 years ago when I gave him the mouse. I passed his desk downstairs and he's playing solitaire. So, that's something that at least stuck with you, is learn how to drag and drop those cards till you figure it out until you get beat, I guess. But anyway, that's just one of those things that I remember distinctly trying to explain, hey, look, you need to learn how to use this and know how to use it. And once you do, you'll start the whole computer world to start coming towards you. So it is.
Suzanne and Patty were the two ladies that cranked it up with us, and I won't ever forget. I'm gonna tell one quick story, and I'll be quiet. But I won't ever forget. I had a little old peckerwood of a car, like you said. I was very fortunate that it even ran, but it did.
The cream.
And so they sent me out on the mountain and gave me a cell phone. I said, man, you got to have a cell phone. Well, I get the car and I go out on the mountain. I get about halfway on the other side, and my car starts vibrating. I couldn't figure it out. I thought the transmission was coming out of it. Well, come to find out, they put it on vibrate. And I've got it in my coat pocket, and I'm sitting on it.
It was the phone that was
I've
vibrating.
gotten out 3 times to look at see if I had a transmission in the car, and my phone was the cause because it was vibrating in my
your pocket.
And I called Suzanne, and she died on the spot right there. She said, "I told you, y'all." He's sitting on his phone in the car, thinking his car is falling apart. So they got a big kick out of,
Oh,
me
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
being a
Little bit behind on the technology curve, but you made it back. I mean, it just takes us all a minute anyway.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a good one, and we appreciate that, Mr. Buck. That's a funny story, and we have lots of them. I mean, I guess we could spend a long time if we could ever remember any of them. That's a part of it, but and we got some pictures and some things out there that we really enjoy going back and looking through. And of course, everybody's either got more hair or less gray or whatever, it's smaller. But anyway, but again, I appreciate it so much, and appreciate your time. And I think that this will be a good opportunity for people to get to know the real Mr. Buck, the real Hal Buckelew. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
my friend.
All right.